Today, we're diving into the economic story of one of the world's most dynamic economies. We're using the Economic Survey for 2025-26 as our guide to explore India's economic ascent. And it's a fascinating story, really, where powerful momentum is meeting incredible resilience. So that brings us to the big question, right? How on earth does a massive economy manage to hit the accelerator and speed up, while at the same time staying so incredibly stable? It's a really tough balancing act, and that's the core of what we're going to unpack today. So here's how we'll get our heads around it. First, we'll look at the big picture of this stable momentum. Then, we're going to peek inside the growth engine to see what's actually powering it. After that, we'll look at the resilient foundation that's keeping everything steady. And finally, we'll see how all this domestic strength is giving India a much bigger footprint on the global stage. Okay, let's kick things off with that big picture. Stable momentum. We're really just unpacking the unique economic story for the fiscal year 2026. What's so interesting is that the survey itself basically hands us our theme on a silver platter with this one quote. It says there's strong economic momentum happening right alongside stable macroeconomic fundamentals. You can see the keywords right there: resilient, robust growth, and get this, historically low inflation. This is that really rare combination of speed and stability that we're here to talk about. All right, so the survey gives us the headline right at the top: momentum and stability. But now let's get under the hood, look inside that growth engine, and check out the hard numbers that prove this isn't just a theory, it's actually happening. And the first number is a big one: a projected real GDP growth of 7.4% for fiscal year 26. You have to remember, in a pretty challenging global environment, a number like that, well, it signifies some serious economic momentum. It puts India right at the front of the pack among the fastest growing major economies. But here's the thing. High growth can often bring with it runaway inflation, which, can just derail everything. And this is where India's story gets really unique: an average headline inflation of just 1.7%, a historic low. When inflation is stable and predictable like this, it gives businesses the confidence to invest, it gives people the ability to spend, and it creates this rock-solid foundation that makes all that high growth actually sustainable. So, what does all this growth and stability actually mean for people on the ground? Well, here's the real-world impact. As you can see right here on the chart, the unemployment rate is on a clear downward path, dropping from 5.6% to 4.8% in just a matter of months. This proves the expansion isn't just on paper, it's creating real jobs. So, where is all this growth coming from? It's not just one thing, it's a really broad-based performance. The survey points to three key pillars holding it all up: agriculture, which is the stabilizing force for the rural economy; manufacturing, which is really picking up speed; and services, which is just continuing to lead the charge. Let's start with the foundation. Agriculture is expected to grow by about 3.1%. Now, a good monsoon has been absolutely crucial here. It's helped support rural incomes, and that keeps consumption demand steady all across the country. It's the bedrock that makes sure the growth is inclusive. Okay, next up, we have the accelerator: manufacturing. Government initiatives like the Production-Linked Incentive, or PLI schemes, are having a massive impact. These basically reward companies for making more stuff domestically. And look at the results. They've pulled in over 2 lakh crore rupees in investment and helped create more than 12 lakh jobs. This is where you can really feel that momentum building. And finally, we have the dominant engine, the services sector. It's now contributing a historic 56.4% to gross value added, which is just a measure of its total output. This has rocketed India to become the world's 7th largest services exporter. I mean, this sector is truly the main driver pushing the entire economy forward. So let's bring this back down to the real world one more time. This balanced growth across all three pillars translated into 8.7 lakh new jobs in just the second quarter of the fiscal year alone. And what's just as important is this: the female labor force participation rate rose to 35.3%, which signals a really positive move towards better inclusion in the workforce. But look, fast growth is great, but it needs a super strong foundation to last. And that brings us to our third section: how that resilient foundation is being built. Here, we're going to look at the smart fiscal and monetary policies that create that all-important stability. The first sign of a resilient foundation is when outsiders start to notice. Prudent, careful fiscal management earned India 3 sovereign credit rating upgrades in 2025, and these came from major global agencies. That is a massive vote of confidence from the international financial community. And these two images side by side, they tell such a powerful story. Over on the left, you can see the strengthened public finances, so higher revenues and smart spending on capital projects. And on the right, you see the result of that in the financial system, strong credit growth, and a really healthy banking sector. This 1-2 punch of fiscal discipline and financial strength, that's the core of India's resilience. Now, on the monetary side, the Reserve Bank of India was really proactive. This slide shows their 3 key moves to keep growth going. First, they cut the repo rate, which made loans cheaper for both businesses and people. Second, they reduced the cash reserve ratio, basically the amount of cash banks have to keep on hand, which freed up more money for them to lend out. And third, they conducted liquidity operations to make sure the financial system had plenty of cash to fund new investments. It's really a textbook case of using monetary policy to keep the engine running smoothly. So you've got this fast-growing and really resilient domestic economy. What happens next? Well, it starts to make its mark on the world. That brings us to our final section, India's expanding global footprint. Let's see how this domestic strength is translating into global influence. The first piece of evidence is this absolutely staggering number, $825.3 billion in total exports just last year. This isn't just a record, it is a crystal clear signal of India's growing competitiveness and its deeper integration into the global economy. And it's not just about trade. India is still the world's largest recipient of remittances, with inflows of over $135 billion. This is such a stable and crucial source of foreign currency, and it provides some serious support to the entire economy. In such an uncertain world, having a safety net is absolutely critical. And here is India's, over $700 billion in foreign exchange reserves. As the slide says, that's enough to cover 11 months of imports. Think about that. It's a massive financial cushion that makes the economy incredibly resilient to any global shocks that might come its way. And this global expansion isn't just about size or money. It's also about quality and ideas. India's rank in the Global Innovation Index has seen a really remarkable jump, from 66th all the way up to 38th in just 6 years. This shows the economy is becoming more knowledge-intensive and a rising hub for innovation. So let's wrap this all up with one final quote from our source. It concludes that all these developments, the growth, the low inflation, the smart fiscal policy, the external buffers, they all point to strengthening fundamentals, and crucially, an improved capacity to sustain that growth while maintaining stability. It just perfectly summarizes our whole theme of momentum meeting resilience. Which really just leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We've seen the strong foundation, and we've seen the powerful momentum. The question now is, with all of that in place, what new heights could this combination unlock for India on the global stage? It's a future that promises to be just as dynamic as the story we've just unpacked.